Today let us see about analysis of population pharmacokinetic data. So that is nothing but we are going to select a group of population. So by using your Bayesian method and also your adaptive methods, by using some software methods and also by using Bayesian method, so we are going to find out the pharmacokinetic data from a group of individuals, that is called population pharmacokinetics. Okay, so let us study about how you are going to analyze the population pharmacokinetic data. So the most of the traditional in pharmacokinetic studies involve taking multiple blood samples periodically over a period of time in a few individual patients and characterizing basic pharmacokinetic parameters such as K, VD and CL. So most of the practices will be involving, we are going to take a number of blood samples from the patient in order to know whether the person, whenever you give any new dosage form to a person, so we are going to check whether all the parameters are working perfectly or not by taking the samples only. So from the samples only we are going to estimate the parameters like K, VD and CL. So with that only we will come to a conclusion that our drug is working or not working properly in a patient. Okay, so here we are going to take a group of population and we are going to study about the inter and intra-subject variability in the patient. From that we are going to analyze the data. So the advantage of this method is that the traditional pharmacokinetic parameter estimation is very accurate provided that the enough samples can be taken from the individual patient. So the main advantage of this method is that, so if you are taking into consideration only a one patient, so from one patient we are taking multiple samples. So if you want to check whether the dose which you are given to the patient is working properly or not, from the same patient itself we are taking most of the samples from that patient. But the disadvantage of that is that, so we cannot take multiple samples from the patient, as you know that. So if we will continuously take the blood samples from the patient, what happens? He'll be getting weak. Okay, and only a few relatively homogeneous healthy subjects are included in PK studies from which dosing is different patients must be projected. So we will be performing all this tests only taking into consideration the healthy individuals only. We are not taking into consideration the unhealthy individuals, because from those people, if you take the blood samples continuously, what happens? There will be alteration in the drug levels and the patient will be becoming weak. So this is the main disadvantage which you are going to see if you take the multiple samples from the same patient. So in the clinical setting, patients are usually not very homogeneous. Patients will be varying in the sex, age, body weight. They may have concomitant disease and may be receiving multiple drug treatments. Even the diet, lifestyle, ethnicity and geographical location can differ from the selected or group of normal subjects. So if you are going to find out the pharmacokinetic data of the population, that is your population pharmacokinetics, so what happens? Not all the people will have the same body weight, or age will not be same, or diseases will not be same. So every person will be differing from another individual. So one will be having the disease, one will not be having the disease, one will be having some lifestyle, another will be having the another lifestyle, some will be taking the proper diet, some will be in the another improper diet. So all these factors will be taken into consideration. Further, it is often not possible to take multiple samples from the same subject, and therefore no data are available to reflect intra-subject difference, so that iterative procedure for finding maximum likelihood estimate can be complex and unpredictable due to incomplete or missing data. So I told you, no, so we cannot take the multiple samples from the single patient to know or to perform to know the estimation that how much parameters which we are going to be concluded. So we are not going to check only the one individual, because we cannot take multiple samples from the single patient. So we are going to check if you want to check the drug dosage or drug working level, we are going to select a group of population. We are going to extract the data from the group of population. However, the vital information needed about the PK of drugs in patients at different stages of disease with various therapies can only be obtained from the same population or from a collection of pooled blood samples. Suppose if you are going to check about the different stages of the disease, or if the person is taking any therapies, so we are going to select a group of population, and from the starting of the treatment itself, so over a period of time we will be collecting all the samples and we are going to check the samples. Okay, Next, the advantage of population PK analysis using pooled data of plasma drug concentration from a large group of subjects may reveal much information about disposition of a drug in a population. So, as there are some disadvantages that we cannot take multiple samples from the single patient, we are going to select a group of population. So, from that population, we are going to take all the blood samples from the patients and we are going to analyze that one. So, that is that is the correct route of knowing the analysis of your PK parameters in a group of population, so that we can estimate that these people or these gender of people or this age group of people will require this much of dose. Okay, so by performing the PK analysis test in a group of populations with varying age, gender and also the variability of their living conditions, so we can easily identify or we can easily estimate how much amount of dose is required to those patients. Unlike data from an individual subject over time, inter and inter-subject variations must be considered. Both PK and non-PK factors such as age, weight, sex and creatinine concentration should be examined in the model to determine the relevance to the estimation of PK parameters. So we will be having some standard parameters like age, weight, sex and creatinine concentration, and also we will be having some non-other parameters also will be having. So if you want to find out both PK and non-PK parameters, so all these factors should be taken into consideration to estimate the PK analysis from a group of population. So here this is an important term which is to be mentioned, that is non-MEM. So non-MEM, here the non-MEM is nothing but this is a non-linear mixed effect model. So it is so called because the model uses both fixed and random factors to describe the data. So in a population, in a group of population, if you are selecting, so we are going to take both factors into consideration, that is fixed factors and random factors. So what are those fixed factors which we are going to consider? Means fixed factors are nothing but the patient's weight, age, gender and creatinine concentration, and these are assumed to have no error at all. Whereas random factors, what are the random factors? Random factors include the inter and intra-individual differences. That means, so if you are selecting a group of population, we are going to find out the inter as well as the intra-individual differences. That means we are going to take the samples from the single individual and we are also going to take the samples from the group of population also. So along with that, we are going to take into consideration the fixed factors also. What are the fixed factors? We are going to take the patient's weight, age, gender and creatinine concentration. So these are all the fixed factors. So non-MEM is nothing but it will combine both the fixed factors it will combine, and also it will combine the random factors also. So non-MEM, actually it is a statistical program which is written in Fortran that allows Bayesian PK parameters to be estimated using an efficient algorithm called the first order method. So this non-MEM is a statistical program. So what it will do means it will collect all the PK information by using the Bayesian method and by using some other algorithm method which is called as the first order method. The parameter may now be estimated also with the first order conditional estimate algorithm. In addition to PK parameters, many examples of population plasma data have been analyzed to determine population factors. So not only we are following that algorithm, there is another algorithm also we are following, that is first order conditional estimate algorithm. So these two algorithms, what they will do means they will take all the PK parameters in addition to that all the PK parameters, so they will take another types of that means extra factors also they will be determining from the population factors. That means if you are taking a group of population, not only the PK and PD parameters, they will take all other parameters from the patients and they will analyze that one. Multiplicative coefficients or parameters for patient factors may also be estimated. Non-MEM fits plasma drug concentration for all subjects in the group simultaneously and estimate the population parameter and its variant. So ultimately what it is doing, it is taking into consideration all the standard factors and random factors, and when with the help of using your algorithms, it is going to fit whatever the samples you have collected from the group of population and also from the single patients. So it is going to fit all the data in that algorithm. So by using that one, we can easily estimate how much amount of dose is required to the particular patient or in designing a particular dose to a particular patient. The parameter may be clearance and VD. The model may also test for other fixed effects on the drug due to factors such as age, weight, and creatinine concentration. So as we are taking into consideration both the factors like fixed and random factors, so it will be mostly concentrating on the clearance and VD and also these fixed models also. So the model describes the observed plasma drug concentration CI in terms of a model width. So when you apply these algorithms in this model, so it will be what are the observed plasma drug concentration from the patient is explained by these parameters. The first parameter is PK. PK is nothing but this is a fixed effect parameter which include PK parameters or patient factor parameters. So from individual patient we are going to identify all the PK parameters. So that is given by the term PK, that is fixed effect parameters. So for example, P1 is CL and P2 is the multiplicative effect including creatinine factor and P3 is the multiplicative of coefficient for weight. So we are giving some fixed effect parameters like CL is P1, P2, P3 like that we are going to give. So if P1 is weight or P2 is creatinine factor and P3 is your clearance factor, so like that we are going to estimate by combining both fixed and random factors. We are going to give the numbering like this, like P1, P2, P3, which indicates the fixed models as well as the random factors. And next coming to random effect parameters, including the variance of the structural parameter or intra-subject variability within the population, the residual intra-subject variance or variance due to measurement errors, fluctuations in individual parameter values, and all other errors not accounted by other parameters. So fixed means that age, weight, etc. will be coming. In the random parameters, we are going to consider the kinetic parameters, that is all the PK parameters we are going to consider in both the intra-subject and inter-subject population, and the residual errors which we are going to take that will be overcome by this method. Population pharmacokinetic data analysis, it is divided into two methods, that is standard two-stage method and the first order method. Standard two-stage method, which it estimates the parameters from plasma drug concentration data for an individual subject during the first stage. The estimates from all the subjects are then combined to obtain an estimate of parameters for the population. So here we are having the two stages. In the first stage, we are going to estimate the plasma drug concentration from the individual subject. So if you are selecting the group of population, so we are not going at a time for a group study. First stage, what we are going to do, we are going to select first individual. From that first individual we are going to check the plasma drug concentration. That is the first stage. In the second stage, what happening, so like that from individual patient we are collecting all the plasma drug concentrations. So in the second stage we are going to combine all those plasma drug concentrations. So that is the second stage. So by using this method, what is an advantage means the unknown factors that affect the response in one patient will not carry over. Suppose in the first person, if you are having some alterations in that, so what you will do, you will easily identify that one and you are not going to combine that factor in the other patient's profile. So we are going to stop over there only. Okay, that is the main advantage. The disadvantage is that not applicable when sufficient drug concentration time data are not available. So to make it every individual's patient's profile, it takes lot of time to make, and if the data is not sufficient to produce, we cannot combine all the plasma drug concentrations. So that is the main disadvantage associated with this. And in the first order method, estimation procedure is based on minimization of an extended least squares criteria. This method attempts to fit the data and partition the unpredictable differences between the theoretical and observed values into random error terms. When this model includes concomitant effect, it is a mixed effect statistical model. So in the first model we are going to take the random term errors, that is we are not going to concentrate on the fixed errors, that is your age, weight, we are not going to take that one. Purely we are going to take only the inter and intra subject variations only. So if any differences or if any problems have been observed in this random method, so we are going to concatenate that one. That is nothing but we are going to fix that one. And when this model includes concatenating effect, this is called as a mixed effect statistical model. So in the first in the previous one we are going to use both the parameters like random and fixed, but here in the first order method we are not going to use the fixed one, we are using only the random values only. The advantages of this method is that it is applicable when the amount of time concentration data obtained from each individual is small, provided that the total number of individuals is sufficiently large. So in this case of random method, we are going to take a group of population. So from that population only, we are going to find out the time concentration data for each and every individual. We are taking that one and we are again combining with that one. That is the main advantage, that if the data is very large number, because we are taking a group of population, no, so if the data is also large number, just we are going to fit in that algorithms and we can get easily the data. Example like this, here you can see analysis of population plasma concentration data involving the drug procainamide. The drug clearance of an individual in a group may be affected by several factors such as body weight, creatinine clearance and clearance factor P1, so which is given by the equation CL drug J is equal to P1 plus P2 into C creatinine J plus P3 into weight J plus NCLJ, where NCLJ is the inter-subject error of clearance and its variance. So here we are going to take into consideration both the factors like your fixed errors and also your random errors. So by taking into consideration for the procainamide, so we are going to given formula, so that is given by the concentrations of the drug along with the weight of the patient and also the creatinine clearance of the patient. So model selection criteria. So how you are going to select a particular model to perform this? Data analysis in pharmacokinetics frequently selects either a mono exponential or poly exponential that better describes the concentration time relationship. The selection criteria for better model is determined by the goodness of fit, taking into account the number of parameters involved. So here we are going to take a correct exponential term, that is we are going to take a relationship between your time and concentration, that is plasma drug concentration. We are going to fit in a particular algorithm. So three common selection criteria are there. One is Akekane information criterion and the Schwartz criterion and the F-test. The performance characteristics of this criteria were examined by using Monte Carlo simulations. The precision and bias of estimated parameters was considered. So these are the three criteria which you are to be followed, that is Akekane information and Schwartz criterion and F-test. So what are these means? So the Akekane information criteria and the Schwartz criterion lead to the selection of correct model more often than that's the F-test. So the first two are the better models to fit the data into that, to know the relationship between your time and plasma concentration profiles, when compared to the F-test, when tends to choose the simpler model even more than the complex model is correct. So in the F-test we are going to take only the small group of population, but in the other two tests we are going to check the huge population also. The F-test is also more sensitive to deficient sampling designs. Prediction of concentrations is generally more precise when the correct model is chosen. So from these three models, if you are having less data, then you have to go for selecting the F-test. If you are having the higher amount of data, just go for the first one, that is your Akekane information Schwartz criterion. Okay, so that we can choose based on the data which you are present with you. And decision always analysis involving diagnostic test. So the diagnostic tests are performed to determine the presence or absence of a disease. So like that, you know how to perform the diagnostic test for any disease. So if decision is accept the disease, if you are having a test report positive, then it will give the positive result. If the disease is absent also, you will be getting the positive only. So here this is a table to find out. You can see that. So if they are accepting the disease, then the test is positive. If the decision is present, so sometimes it may be positive or it may be negative. And if you reject the disease, the test is negative. If it is again present, so it may be sometimes false negative or true negative. And totals we can find out like this by taking the positive and negative into consideration, A plus B and B plus D, and finally you will get A plus B plus C plus D. So here you can see the predictability. So if positive is there, it may be A or A plus B. So that is nothing but A is nothing but positive and B is nothing but this is negative. So like that. So if you want to go or checking these variables, just go on checking this table. You can easily write this one. Positive predictability means A by A plus B. If total predictability is A plus D by A plus B plus C plus D, or specificity means D by B plus D, and negative predictability with D by C plus D, sensitivity is equal to A by A plus C. By based on this table, you can easily give the predictability of the disease. Okay, so this is how to perform the PK analysis data in the group of population. Okay.